Why do you think, because you talk about in the book, they really connected with him? What was it that made them connect?
Well, I think because Ozzy, he's funny. And my dad took a particular shine to him, which is great. I mean, he's a funny character, And that's all I can sort of say.
Okay, they was just, you can't figure out what, I mean, they really connected to Ozzy, though, of anyone else in the band.
No, they liked everybody.
They liked everyone?
Oh, yeah, they liked them all in the band. But Ozzy was, my dad used to make Ozzy laugh. Ozzy used to make him laugh,
Okay, so it was Ozzy's effect on your father. He was disarming in some ways, I guess.
Yeah, he liked it.
There are some lessons I see that you learned. The description of time at the Rock and Roll Circus rehearsals, Ian Anderson, Jethro Tull. He does not sound, from your description of him in the book, like a nice guy.
Ian, he is a very nice guy.
He is a nice guy. Just
very
a tough
nice
guy?
Yeah, he's just, he had a view of what it should be, and you got to respect that. He knew what he's still here, still doing it, and he's done. He led that band. I thought he was very good, and he taught me a lot because I saw him. I saw him how he worked the band, and it enabled me when I went back to our band to do the same.
Discipline is what I got out of it.
Absolutely,
you got a lot of discipline.
Because when we got back together after that, I went back to the others and said, if we're going to do this, we've got to do it seriously and really start rehearsing in the day and and work at it.
The flute only appeared in your playing on Solitude and Planet Caravan, correct? You never really used it again, but you did use.
I used it on stage in the early days on one song that we used to do, like an instrumental thing. Yeah, it was a bit of fun, really.
And so that disappeared, I'm assuming, quick. The flute
it disappeared fairly quick. And I did actually buy a saxophone, which was just dreadful. I mean, I made such a...
For yourself to use?
Yeah, I was trying to play the sax. I don't know why I went there, but I couldn't play it very good.
A period of experimentation. In the book, Iron Man, there's a cool, it reveals how, and anyone who's a hardcore Sabbath fan would know about how Ozzy and Geezer collaborated on the lyrics. Did that process, as the original band went on towards the end of the original band, did the process change the way they would write lyrics together?
No, it was more or less the same. We'd have the riff and we'd organise the song. Ozzy'd sing whatever melodies he got in his head, and he might come up with certain lyrics as he's singing it, and then Geezer, sometimes we'd incorporate those lyrics and add some more.
There is, in the early days that I had never read about until the book, the Top Gear session tapes from November of 1969 with John Peel. They've never made their way out, huh? Is that something that you're holding on to a copy of?
No, we've got the John Peel stuff we did. It was the only connection for us in them days with the public, because there weren't many people that would play us, and John Peel was one of them. And we'd done a John Peel special at his studio.
Mm-hmm. And so those, do you think we'll ever get to hear?
Yeah, they probably will at some point, yeah.
Because I've noticed a lot of his stuff is starting to make the rounds.
I'm sure it will.
I've got to have that feeling. Crow's version of Evil Woman, a fantastic song with the horns. Do you like their version? I only heard it for the first time studying for this interview.
You know what? I can't remember to this day why we really did that. I mean, why we didn't say we don't want to do it. It must have been, a time when we this is a song we want you to cover, and in them days you didn't have any option. Okay.
You had to kind of do what your advisors said.
Well, at the time, yeah, certainly the first album we'd never done an album before. We were very green. We didn't know how to go about it. I mean, if we'd have known how to go about it, we certainly wouldn't have done an album in the first day.
Right. But the genius of that record, it's almost like, man, you wouldn't even want to touch it when you listen back as a fan.
No, it's what it was. It's what it was, and it created a certain vibe, and that it was done then and then. Maple
Durham Watermill. When I was a kid, that record cover was so spooky, and it's great to see the current pictures.
It was very spooky, and I like the cover of that. But again, on the gatefold one,
with the upside down cross.
with the upside down cross, that opened a whole new career world for us, of Satanists and God knows what else, and then the church, and because with that, the front cover and the name of the band, wow, you can imagine in 1969 what it was like then, because it was all the hippie thing and everybody was peace and love, and that came out and
went against the grain of all of it. In so many ways, but yet it also spread the message of peace too. And because if you really listen to the lyrics,
but that's what some people didn't, and they just assumed that it was, all satanic and everything.
When was the last time you've been to that place, Maple Durham Watermill? Have you been there?
Oh,
never.
Not for. I've been once, but I've not been for
It's nice that you reference it, though. It's cool. You really plug it in. It's for fans, you can learn a little bit about the history of the band through this book. More than just learning about the behind the scenes, you learn a little bit of history.
Well, in fact, the girl that's on the front cover, she came to see us many years afterwards, and none of us recognised her then. And she went, "Oh, I was the girl on the front cover." Oh, right.
You're not green
She looks
anymore.
so different, Look different with your normal skin.
So I was going to say, man, you wouldn't want to see that girl in person. And on the note of the effect that outside influences like producers or managers would have on the products, flashing forward on Paranoid, you mentioned this in there, but I just want to get a clarification. On War Pigs, both the air raid siren and the sped up ending at the end of the song, those were aesthetics that were thought of not by the band?
No, that was by the producer at the time, Roger Bain. Probably a collaboration of him and the engineer. They done that.
And the air raid siren too.
Yeah, I mean, what we did, we done our part. We played, and we'd gone. We didn't know what you do. We weren't allowed to hang around and.
Man, did they do it though, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, when you listen back to that, you got to think that's a great example of a producer putting something super cool on the record.
And again, you see, the producer, I mean, he was quite green to it all.
Right.
He hadn't been in the business.
He was winging it.
Yeah. It was a bit of trial and error, and for him, it was like his first project, And they thought, oh, we'll put him in with them, But he knew more than what we did, that's for sure. But it was good.
And his creativity to this day, it stands the test of time in some of those ways. Green or not, the air raid siren.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
brilliant.
it's a good idea. So whoever came up with it was him or the engineer. It was a good idea, yeah.
It was.
We were shocked when we heard the sped up bit at the end. We went, oh, what's that?
I bet the whole thing must have shocked you.
It did, yeah.
You're like, what's that on the front? In that era, there weren't a lot of other musicians coming in and being with Sabbath and Tony. Sort of through previous interviews, you've explained that to me too. The jamming thing was often difficult. However, you mentioned the guys from Zeppelin visiting during the Sabbath Bloody Sabbath sessions, and that you had a jam together. And that's all you say in there. Who from Zeppelin, and what was the jam?
It was we were recording the album, the Sabbath album, and they came down to see us. John Bonham, I think John Bonham, Robert Plant, and I think John Paul Jones. I think it was only Jimmy that didn't come down.
Wow. Okay.
And we ended up. John wanted to play Supernaut. He said, "Oh, come on, let's play." Completely ruined our session, because it was a bit like, "Oh, come on, let's play Supernaut. Can I have a go at that? Come on, let's play that." And we started playing it, and it sounded horrible. So we sort of went to start just jamming, and that's what we done. We had a couple of jams, and those tapes will probably materialise somewhere one of the days.
Will they? With John on the drums, John Paul Jones on the bass.
It was a mixture of all of us, just playing, and it was good. It was a bit of good fun.
Oh, messy but fun.
Yeah, it ruined our session. But once they come down, we couldn't get rid of them. We didn't want to get rid of them, but it just did. That was the end of the session.
Right.
We had a jam, and then we all went home.
Out came the blow, I'm thinking.
Yeah, probably.
Based on the way the book
is written. It might well have done.
And on that note, I guess, you did not know Jimmy real well back then, but now you and Jimmy Page are friends, buds?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't see him every week. I usually see him generally on occasions, usually at awards and we've got closer over the years because there's a few of us left.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you talk about that Fields of Rock in Holland.
Yeah, he came with us to the gig. He flew out with us and watched the show. And
Heaven and Hell.
no, it was a Black Sabbath show.
Which era was that Fields?
It was when we did the shows with Ozzy.
Okay, that was the real deal. It was the full.
Yeah, the full wank. When
full
we
wank.
did the whack.
Full whack.
Oh, full wank. Whatever.
So that's who he went to see. That's
He came
cool.
with us to see the. He flew out on the jet with us and watched the show, and then we all came back.
That's exciting. That's a great thing for the Zeppelin and Sabbath fans to just envision Jimmy Page.
Oh, they were great. They're great